Long ago, in a tropical forest where emerald leaves whispered with the wind and rivers hummed eternal songs, two unlikely friends lived side by side. Toby, the tortoise, was steady and kind. His shell was weathered by time, but inside it lived a heart soft with patience and compassion. He was slow, yes, but every step he took carried thoughtfulness. He believed in the quiet strength of loyalty. Harry, the scorpion, was Toby's opposite in every way. He was small, sharp, and restless. His tail, curved like a question mark, carried venom enough to strike fear into any creature. And yet, despite his nature, Harry had chosen Toby as his closest companion. Some in the forest whispered about their friendship, for it seemed impossible. How could the gentle tortoise walk beside the stinging scorpion? But they did. They shared meals beneath banyan trees, laughed at the strange calls of jungle birds, and dreamed about what lay beyond the great river that cut through their land. On the surface, it was a friendship built on trust. Beneath it, perhaps, there was always something waiting, something hidden. One season, the rains came harder than ever before. The skies darkened for days, and the forest floor, once firm, turned to mud. The river swelled with fury, its once gentle song rising to a roar. By the third night, the river had burst its banks. Homes of smaller creatures were swept away. The paths Toby and Harry once knew were gone, devoured by the floodwaters. The two friends stood on the wrong side of the river, stranded. The world they knew, food, shelter, safety, was across those raging waters. Harry clicked his claws nervously, his tail twitching. "We can't stay here, Toby. The flood will swallow this side soon." Toby looked at the river, steady but worried. The water churned with hidden currents dangerous enough to claim the strongest swimmer. Still, he knew there was no choice. "I can swim," Toby said softly, his voice as deep as the earth. "If you climb onto my back, I will carry you across." Harry hesitated. He was proud, sharp-tongued, often quick to anger, but in this moment he was small and afraid. His eyes softened. "Would you really do that for me?" Toby gave a slow, gentle nod. "Of course, that's what friends are for." The water was cold when Toby stepped in, and the current tugged at his legs like greedy hands. He pushed forward, carrying Harry safely upon his broad shell. At first, Harry was quiet, his claws gripping Toby's shell. The scorpion even whispered a shaky, "Thank you." But as the river grew deeper, something in Harry stirred. His stinger twitched. His instincts whispered to him in a voice older than reason. A voice that said, "Strike. Sting. It is who you are." And before he could silence it, his tail lashed forward. "Stab!" Toby winced, the sting burning through his shell and into his flesh. His legs faltered and the river pulled harder, but he kept swimming. "Harry!" Toby gasped, his voice thick with hurt. "Why would you do that?" Harry's eyes darted nervously. I don't know. I didn't mean to." His words trembled with shame, but deep inside, he knew the truth. Toby breathed through the pain. "We're in the middle of the river. If I falter, we both drown." For a while, silence stretched between them. Only the current spoke. Halfway across, when the waters were at their fiercest, Harry's tail twitched again. He tried to fight it, tried to remember Toby's kindness, the meals they had shared, the laughter they had known. But instinct won. Stab. Stab. Two more stings sank deep into Toby's back. The tortoise's limbs quivered. Pain spread through him like fire, and the weight of the river grew unbearable. For one terrifying moment, Toby thought of sinking, of letting go. But then he remembered. He remembered the nights they had watched the stars together, the times Harry had defended him from mocking creatures, the way Harry had once called him the only friend I'll ever need. Through tears of pain, Toby whispered to himself, "He is my friend, and it is my nature to protect." So he swam. He swam with every ounce of strength left in his tired body. each stroke heavy with love and loyalty, even as venom coursed through him. At last, Toby's feet touched solid ground. With one final heave, he climbed out of the raging river and collapsed on the bank, gasping. Harry scuttled down from Toby's shell, shaking the water from his claws. He looked at Toby, who lay trembling, his shell marked by stings. The scorpion's voice was small. "Why didn't you let me drown, Toby? Why didn't you shake me off when I hurt you?" Toby lifted his weary eyes, full of both sorrow and love. His voice was weak but steady. "Because, Harry, it is my nature to help, and because, despite everything, we are friends." Harry lowered his gaze, his tail drooping. For once, he had no sharp words, no excuses, only the quiet weight of truth. He whispered almost to himself, "It is my nature to sting." And Toby replied with tears welling in his ancient eyes, "And it is mine to forgive." They sat there in silence, the river roaring behind them. Two natures bound by fate, yet forever at odds. Morale of the story: we can never betray who we truly are. The sting will always belong to the scorpion, just as kindness belongs to the tortoise. But this tale is more than forest creatures. It is about us. Sometimes the deepest wounds come from those we trust the most. Sometimes love means carrying pain that others would let go of. And sometimes the hardest lesson is not in changing others, but in accepting the truth of who they are. So be wise in the company you keep. Know the natures of those who walk beside you. For in the middle of life's rivers, betrayal can cost everything. And yet, even then, love may still choose to carry. And so, instead of anger or revenge, the tortoise chose forgiveness. By carrying the scorpion safely across, he showed that kindness can break even the sharpest sting. What lesson did you find in this story? Share it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Rabbit's Foot Tales, where every story carries a little wisdom for the heart.